Hi, folks. Steve Urban here, host of the Riderflex podcast and founder and CEO of our day job recruiting firm, Riderflex. We hope you enjoy this episode. And as a reminder, please subscribe to the podcast for updates and news. Finally, if you haven't already, check out the series of books we've published on hiring, interviewing, and overall career advice titled The Riderflex Guide, available on Amazon. And now, a quick word from our sponsor.
Most homeowners don't have the time or expertise to properly take care of their home, which causes costly issues to arise. That's where Kira Home Maintenance comes in. We're a full-service, routine maintenance company that was developed by a certified home inspector. Each quarter, we service our clients' homes following manufacturer's recommendations to properly maintain all the necessary appliances. We provide the materials and expertise to prolong the life of your property, creating a healthy and efficient environment for your family. From top to bottom, we'll maintain and service your home. To get started, we have a property inspection to determine what needs to be maintained, and a maintenance plan is created based on your preferences. From refrigerator coils to filters, vents, and drains, we do it all, and we do it well. Contact us today for your free routine maintenance inspection, and never worry about your maintenance again.
Here we go. Kelly Hadous on the Riderflex podcast. Hello, Kelly. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. So nice to be here. Thank you.
And where are you located today?
I'm currently in Manhattan.
In Manhattan. Okay. I saw New York on your LinkedIn profile. I didn't know if you were vacationing maybe somewhere or.
Oh, I wish. No. Unfortunately, I feel like I work all the time. But I am relocating to LA.
Oh, you are? Oh.
Yeah. I'll be doing that anytime between September and November. So, change is good, right? As they say, going from one city to another city, not so bad.
Now you've been in New York for a while though, right? And plus you went to school on the East Coast and all that. So you're an East Coast girl, aren't you?
Oh, I am. Yeah. I'm born in Brooklyn, raised in Staten Island.
Okay.
And I started my career working on Wall Street. And then from there, I got married and, moved to Texas where my ex-husband found his job. And so we were living in Dallas, Texas for a while. And then we moved to Connecticut and raised a family. But after the divorce, I moved back to the city.
I got you. That's why I saw SMU. There was a little blip of SMU on your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, how did that happen? Okay, now I see.
Yeah, that's where the education, actually, that's where college started at SMU. So I actually got on Wall Street with just a high school diploma.
How about that? Wow. That's pretty cool.
My way of, talking and knocking on doors and being persistent and consistent and all that stuff, right? That resiliency stuff. I think if you want to get somewhere, sometimes you have to do that.
Got that right. What'd your folks do for a living?
Well, my mom, unfortunately, is no longer with us. She was such a sweetheart, and I learned so much from her. She worked at a bank. She worked at Bankers Trust. Okay. And that was actually the building that went down next to the World Trade Center. So, the World Trade on September 11th, of course, the World Trade Center. But then there was the Bankers Trust building. And that also got affected, and that was demolished. But my mom worked there for as long as I can remember. And single mom. I just grew up with my mother, and she was amazing.
Wow.
Amazing.
Okay.
And my mom and dad divorced very, very early on. And so I don't know, it's funny because I don't know what it's like to grow up in a broken home, but I know what it's like to grow up in a single parent home. Does that make sense?
It totally does. Yeah. Did you have a relationship with your father? Did you know him, or any story there?
I do know him, but not very well. He's from Lebanon,
Okay.
and I grew up with my mother, an Irish Catholic, and my dad's from Lebanon, and he's Muslim, and so that's a
Yeah, that's a whole.
whole other culture, right? And so I would go there and visit him from time to time, but never really. And to this day, I just don't have a close relationship with
Yeah.
him.
No siblings?
Well, I did have an older brother who passed away, and
Okay.
then I have half siblings.
Okay.
So
Yeah, very,
yeah,
very good.
yeah.
Well, I
So I'm
appreciate, yeah. What
technically operating as an only child here.
now you got a job on Wall Street right out of high school. So were you like straight A student? What kind of kid were you? What kind of teenager were you? Just curious.
I was trouble on wheels. And I just, had when you grow up in a working class neighborhood, your
Yeah.
mother works all day long. You just kind of, hang out and do stuff that you're not supposed to. And I, got into trouble. And so I wouldn't say no, I wasn't a great student, but what I was a great reader.
Oh,
I read
okay.
a
Okay.
lot. And that I think kept me um going,
Okay.
throughout those years.
Okay. And so you didn't, so you got married and then went to school. Is that how, or is that what's the timeline there when you started school?
Yeah. So I got married, and then my ex-husband said, "Hey, do you want to go back to college, right? Do you want to do something there?" And I thought, well, I don't know about that. And then I
Mm.
just try, and I was like, oh, okay. I kind of like this. And so I did, and I went all the way through, and got my undergraduate, got my graduate degree, went and got certifications.
Mm.
Yeah, I've always loved education. I
Mhm.
always loved it. So I just felt it was such a blessing to go to school. It just took that one class. It was like fire for me. I was like, all right, let's go, let's do this.
Okay.
And learning is an amazing thing, right?
Mm.
And people say that, oh, sometimes it's tough to deal with older people, and like once someone is beyond millennial age. But if you just keep learning and you just keep your
Mm.
mind
Mm.
open, I don't think that ageism really is an issue. I mean, I see this with my clients, and they'll say things like, well, I'm a certain age.
Yeah.
Just keep your mind open,
Mhm.
right? I mean, because there are some people who are really young, very young in their 20s, who are stuck. They're already set
True.
in ways.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of great communication and interpersonal skills and all of that is just being open, quite honestly.
Yep, I agree totally. We you probably don't know this. Beyond our podcast, Riderflex is a staffing and recruiting firm,
I saw
and
that. I
and
checked you.
we oh, okay. And we, I get a lot of between 50 and 60-year-old kind of former, a lot of them are former executives or former VPs, and let's say they're 52, 53, and they get laid off, and they call me and they're like, hey, ageism, nobody's interviewing me, nobody will talk to me. And then they kind of get into this depression, and then they get angry, and then they kind of put themselves in this funk that they can't get out of. And you're right. They need to just stay positive, stay open-minded, keep learning, get themselves around positive energy, keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
Very true.
It's so true. You really do have to push forward. You have to have a vision.
Yeah.
That
When you so you were going to school, have raising a family, you said, can you mind me asking how many children you had?
two girls,
Okay.
Gabrielle and Sophia.
Okay. So you're going to school while you were raising a family,
Yes.
which is not easy to do.
No, no, but I had help, and my mom was with us, and I had
Okay.
a I was very lucky
Did
back
you
then.
know, did you know what you wanted to do with the education? Did you kind of have a plan, or did you fall into it? Talk to me about that.
Well, I've always been passionate about communication. I've
Okay.
always felt that in a way I was an artist that needed to express herself. You
Okay.
know, painters need to paint, I need to speak. And I always knew that. And I thought, well, my life should be on the stage, or my life should be somewhere in front of the camera acting.
I'm
And
surprised you're not. I'm surprised you're not an actress. By the way, you have the whole look for it. Just so you know, I'm sure you've been told that many times.
oh my God, thank you. I mean, I did try. I was a theater actor for
I
many,
believe it. I believe it.
and but it was, you know, quite challenging. It's a quite challenging profession. You're not really making much money. It's really
Yeah.
and something that you do out of it's soulful. You love it. You're passionate about it, but it's not necessarily paying the electric bill.
but you did you know, okay, well, maybe I can't make a living getting paid for acting, but I know that I'm great at speaking and I love to be on stage speaking and I can make a living doing that. Did that kind of, how did that form? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, it's interesting because I unfortunately divorced in 2008, and I was really at
Okay.
a crossroads. You know, I hadn't been back in the market working, and
Okay.
my past experience was on Wall Street. I
Okay.
had, you know, the education, obviously, and then I had the theater background, and I thought, well, I don't want to go back to Wall Street and I don't want to go back to the theater. And now I have no idea what I'm going to do. So at that point, I was networking a lot in Manhattan, in Silicon Alley, right?
Okay.
Silicon Valley is in San Francisco. We
Yep.
have Silicon Alley, and
Okay.
there were so many startups at that time that needed to raise capital, and they were all
Yeah.
congregating in these meetups, and it was incredible.
Okay.
And then I started making friends, and you know, people who were running incubators and accelerators said, hey, can you talk to a couple of hundred people about how to present, about how to pitch, how to put their presentation together? And that's really
Yes.
how it got
Yeah.
started.
Yeah. You're like, yes, I can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was great for me because I didn't want to do something where it was like, oh, stand like this. Oh, pause for 5 seconds before you say that. Right. I mean, there's definitely that's important. But what's important to me is the business side and the art side. And I wanted to bring those two home.
I
And so
see.
that's why I thought it was exciting to work with startups, because I got both.
So at
I
that, then you started meeting lots of investors, lots of entrepreneurs, a lot of PE firms, VC people, all kinds of stuff.
that really opened up doors, right? I started speaking in places like Asia, Europe, throughout the country about the intersection of communication and technology, and how communication is changing, and how we really need to be clear and passionate and connect with people. And that's really how I got started, from Silicon Alley, then the public speaking. And then it was like, okay, I think I have a business here. And so
Yeah.
I started to reach out to C-level, then it went to mid-management, and then individuals. And so fast forward to this day, you know, Win the Room is a company that I started in 2008. And it's really based in that early experience of, you know, business communication, but adding in that theater aspect. But I really kept that in the dark.
Oh,
Isn't that something? I
but
kept the
why? Why?
because being a woman, and I'm in a man's world,
Okay.
right? I mean, let's face it, you know, corporate America, it's still a man's world.
Even
I
today, it was worse back in 08 and 09, I'm sure.
yeah. Oh, well, back when I was working on Wall Street, I mean,
Yeah.
I worked on a
Oh,
trading floor,
yeah.
right? And so I knew what I was up against, and I knew that I would have to prove myself first, that I couldn't come through the door with, hey, I'm an actor, right? And I can help you. So I came in through the finance. I came
Okay.
in through, I
Okay.
worked on a trading floor. This is what I did, and this is how I can help you. And
Mhm.
then as I started to prove myself, then I started to bring that in.
I see. And you Win the Room was '08, you said? Is that right?
Yeah, I started it in '08. I mean, it really wasn't official until years later,
Okay.
but the germ was there,
Okay.
right? I think the domain was there, but it really wasn't a, a a company that was generating revenue,
Okay.
not for a few years after that.
Okay. And it is, for the listeners, wintheroom.com is the website. And can you give us a little elevator pitch overview for Win the Room, if you don't mind? Go for it.
Oh yeah. So Win the Room is it's a company that really focuses in on communication, and communication meaning B2B, business to business communication. That's what I'm most passionate about, helping professionals to get to the next level. And so the strength of it, as I said, is in the communication. There's over 100 programs. So it's programs ranging from transformational leadership to sales, conflict resolution, negotiation, how to communicate with more clarity, executive presence, how to pitch, all of those things that come under that communication umbrella. It's
Okay.
what I've been doing for years, and it's industry agnostic.
Okay.
And like I said, it really caters more to the B2B clientele.
Okay. And is it yourself? Do you have assistants? You have employees? How large is the company?
Oh, it's a small company,
Yeah.
so it's maybe about 10 people. I would say I'm the main part of Win the Room.
Hmm.
But there are people who do work as trainers, as coaches, and
Okay.
then there are support people as well.
Yeah, but if I'm just, now that I've talked to you for 20 minutes, if I book a meeting, I don't want anybody else. I want Kelly.
And you shall have her.
Yeah. Did you do you sell the program? I guess you sell the programs individually or in packages. How does that work?
Well, that's a great question. So it's sold as if you were going to a company and you're saying, hey, we're having this problem with
I
our
see.
leadership team.
I see.
We're not on the same page. There's disagreements with the board of directors,
Okay.
and need a workshop. We need someone to come in and help us.
I see.
That's generally about 3 days of helping that leadership team. And then from there, assessing it and saying, okay, there's some folks here that need some coaching. Let's do another workshop, or let's add in some other training. And then, so that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is where you can train, let's say with me, every week we train for an hour. I
Okay.
train your team,
Okay.
and it's great that way because there's accountability. The information is still fresh. It gives them time to practice,
Mm,
and it's extended over a period of time.
I see.
The age that we're living in now, people don't have the time, and sometimes they don't have the patience
Mm,
for a full day of training.
it's
So
true.
when that happens, then it's okay, what's best for you? How can we
Mhm.
help you?
Hmm. If you had to break down the business and percentages, is it speaking in front of a large audience at like a company conference, more of that, or is it more executive leadership team coaching, or more one-on-one CEO coaching? A little bit of a
Yeah.
mix. Yeah, curious.
It's all of the above. So I do speak at conferences.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've been mainly B2B.
Okay.
When I first started, I did public speaking. Like, I was out of control with it. I was like, I'll speak wherever you want me to speak. And now, if there is a company that says, hey, we're having a yearly conference and we need a speaker to help our community understand the value of building relationships and having strong communication, can you come in and do that?
Mhm.
I've done it on storytelling. I've done it on team building. I've done it on leadership. I've done it with sales teams. So when the room is not just one-on-one, and it's not just group coaching, and it's not just group training, it's really tries to be holistic and
Okay.
systemic.
Okay.
So it's where the issues are, and then we help them and we prescribe, okay, well, it sounds like this type of training is good for you here. Let's do a couple days here. Let's evaluate. Maybe we'll pull a few of those key people and coach them.
Okay.
So
Okay. And is your target, you're industry agnostic, I think you said. How about company size? Are you mid to large? It doesn't matter.
large. We've been really growth. Growth is
Okay.
really a sweet spot.
Okay. Okay.
Have not turned away small companies and have not turned away Apple or IBM. When they come knocking, you don't turn them away.
Well, startups probably can't, unless they've been funded, startups probably can't afford your services yet. But do you get a lot of calls when there's like a merger or acquisition and they're trying to combine two cultures together and all of a sudden two leadership teams are slammed together and they're not getting along? I bet you do a lot of those.
Yeah, that definitely happens. As I said, when there's conflict, it's
Yes.
terrible. Everyone feels it, from the
Mhm.
directors down. And when you are bringing in two cultures, people bring in their legacy, and sometimes that legacy is not working
Right.
in the new company. So they
Mhm.
need to be retrained. They need to get out of their own way, right? They need to open up and see this for what it is now and not live in the past.
Mhm. I don't want you to give away a bunch of free advice here because I know you get paid to do this for a living, but if you had to highlight two or three most common mistakes leadership teams make in the communication with each other, what would you want to mention today?
Well, I think I see it across the board, right? I see it with sales teams, I see it with leaders, I see it with people trying to move up the ladder. They get, as we opened up, right? We talked about being open-minded.
Mm.
We talked about learning, and we talked about getting out of our own way. And I see that's where people really get stuck. They come in with their beliefs, they come in with their value system, they come in with their how they
Egos.
culturally, they
Yeah.
come in egos, they protect themselves, they're
Yeah.
fearful, right? So you have all these triggers. And
Mhm.
sometimes if you don't have the emotional intelligence to know that you are being triggered, that you are being triggered by a situation or by what someone just said, then that causes conflict.
Mhm.
That conflict really can it can ruin company.
Absolutely. I totally agree. In fact, I think I ran a couple of smaller $40 million companies before starting Riderflex, and I'm 56, so I've seen it. I got some scars, and and so I would be willing to say that the most common reason for company failure is because people just can't communicate, don't talk to each other, don't say the right things, and egos get in the way, and it just breaks down. The whole communication system breaks down. That's assuming there was a good product or service in the beginning, assuming there was a fairly decent product or a decent service they were selling. If it fails, it's usually because of communication, somewhere in the communication. I see it all the time. And it's all those things you just said, the egos, I got to protect my turf. Okay, well, if I share that news, maybe my job's eliminated, so I can't say anything. So let me do all the stuff. It goes on.
Right. And innovation stops, right?
That's
And
right.
that's innovation comes to a halt, a screeching halt. That's
Yes.
when morale goes down.
And then
That's
morale
when
starts.
they
Yes.
become unhappy, and they're like, this is not for me anymore, and they're miserable. But we spend most of our life working, most of our lives. And even if we have families, we are still wrapped up in our work. And
Mhm.
so
Yes.
to not have that emotional intelligence operating for us at work, well, it's stressful, right? I mean, people can have heart attacks, people get sick like that.
That's right.
It's very, very stressful.
I always tell my clients as a recruiting firm, if I'm talking to a client, I will say, look, I advise you to take a high EQ over high IQ most of the time.
Yeah.
If they're super high EQ, super high emotional intelligence, and maybe the candidate checks 70% of the boxes on skills and experience, they don't check every box, but their EQ is way up here. Their people skills are fantastic and they fit the company culture. I always tell them that one, go for that one. It's what matters. Because a high IQ that's an asshole, that's not going to do anything.
No, it's true. It's very, very true. Yeah. I mean, when I first started, I hired a lot of people, well, not a lot, but about 10 or 12. And I was definitely looking at the resumes and their skill sets, where they went to school. Okay, great, you'll do. And then I would give them the objective of the project, and I would say to myself, well, they're smart, right? I told them this is what needs to be done. I walked them through it, and that was it. And I kind of like let them go. And I saw, oh my gosh, there's a lot of frustration here. People are not happy. And for a while, I couldn't figure it out. And different communication styles. So there's different ability levels, and those ability levels can shift, right? So someone who's strong, let's say in software development, but now you're saying, okay, create this API for this, right? And now all of a sudden there's something new thrown into that development mix that they weren't familiar with. Well, their ability level has shifted. And when that happens, the motivation level shifts. And I think it's really important to follow through with people, not to micromanage, but to follow through. You give someone an objective, or, you set the vision. This is what we want, right? And I don't want to micromanage you. I want to help you, and I want to be there for you. And it's just really seeing where someone's ability level is today and where it is the following week. Has it shifted? Has it shifted a month from now? And then motivation level, they shift, right? That's one thing I didn't do in the beginning.
I see. Do you think, this is kind of a bigger picture, 30,000-foot question. Do you think social media and smartphones have hurt millennial and Gen Z's ability to communicate verbally with people face to face?
I would imagine. All right. I would definitely imagine. I think even, every generation has their issues around communication.
Yeah, true.
It's a human condition, right? If we look back on plays from many, many years ago, right, there were breakups and companies that were falling apart, and all this drama has been playing out since the beginning of time.
That's true.
How we have thrown something else into the mix, technology, and what it's doing on one part is that it's saying, okay, if you want to play in this game, you better be good. You better be good with connecting with people, and you better be good with, getting your point across, asking for business, things like that. And then there's the other side, that if people are not open to learning and not open to understanding that this is a skill set that's mandatory, they'll get lost. They'll get lost, and their education suffers as a result. I mean, we all fuck up with communication, right? It's just normal. Life is messy. It's never going to be one straight line. It's not linear, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But if you have the technique and the skill set, you know how to pick yourself back up and say, okay, you know what? That happened. What did I learn from it? What am I now doing going forward?
You've done a great job, by the way, on your social media. You've capitalized. You got, I'm looking at your LinkedIn profile. You got like 30,000 followers on LinkedIn. That's not easy to do, by the way.
No, it's LinkedIn has been great. LinkedIn has been great. I've used it right away as soon as it came out. And in the past couple of years, I've used it even more since the pandemic, because it's been such an enormous way of networking with people.
It's a 24-hour trade show, 24-hour, 7-day-a-week trade show.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, you can connect with, the CEO of a major corporation on LinkedIn. We weren't able to do that prior, right? Even prior to COVID. I mean, LinkedIn has been around for a long time, and I guess we always had that access. But when COVID happened, it was like everyone was at home. You contacted people, they made time to speak with you. I think LinkedIn is a very powerful tool. I'm not on Instagram that much. We do post there. We do post to Facebook. But like I said, my company is more B2B. So LinkedIn has been an important source.
Are you careful? I'm sure you are. You kind of have to be, right? You careful with what you post, and you're careful not to get political or social or whatever. You're kind of a little cautious.
Yeah, I mean, because that's not my game, right? Like, I understand that's my business, right?
Exactly.
I'm not on LinkedIn to post about my political views. I'm not on LinkedIn to like start an argument with someone, because that would take me away from what I do every day. What I do every day is win the room, right? And when I end the day, whenever I do, I feel like I'm always working. So the last thing I want to do is like have an argument with someone who I don't even know on social media.
That I'm going to capture that little mini speech right there and make that a highlight. I cannot tell you, Kelly, how many times I'm talking to a candidate, especially an executive level candidate that's, I'm trying to help or whatever. We're trying to place them. And I tell them the same thing. I say, what are you doing? Why are you arguing with strangers and being that? What?
Yeah, I don't understand it.
I don't get it. I'm like, I'll tell them, I'm like, take that down right now. If like you get the job, you get what the job I'm trying to place you in, fine, go back on and post whatever you want. But for right now, take that down.
Anyway. Right. Yeah.
Do you probably have one of your team members help you with the social media, I'm guessing? Probably.
Yes.
Yeah, very good.
I do. Yeah.
Are you
before it goes
down? Yeah, exactly. Are you doing a lot of stuff virtually, or are you still doing most things in person?
Virtually. And I've just created a year-long on-demand program. It's called Transformational Communication and Leadership. So it's everything that I've done for the past, 14 years as a professional working with Win the Room. And it covers everything from public speaking to how to deal with different communication styles, emotional intelligence, how to delegate, how to resolve conflict, how to negotiate. Really, everything is in it. And it's micro training, because that's the way people are learning now. They're learning on the go, and it's bite-sized, and it's multimedia. It has video, audio, written content, because I know what I'm up against.
Yes. I'm curious because I've thought about, we have on our podcast, we give away a lot of job interviewing tips and career advice. I've thought about turning that piece into some sort of revenue stream, but how do you keep people from paying? Let's say Johnny pays for that service. He signs up for it. He's doing your course. How do you know Johnny's not sharing it with Bobby and Sally and giving your stuff away because he gave him the sign in link, or it doesn't matter? I don't know. How do you?
Well, because of the platform that I use, if they take a quiz, it's kind of hard if they share that, right? And like I said, a lot of this has been B2B. The B2C part, you're right. I don't really know how that can be completely prevented. But when an HR executive licenses this program, they want to see the progression. They want to see if their people completed modules. They want to see how they did with the quizzes and where they are as a group. So it's different. It's different. Now, B2C too, I would think that they wouldn't want to share that because the platform is so interactive, they're following how they're doing from the first day onward.
I see. Okay, very good. So that's a big business, or I'm guessing you're hoping that's a big business, is HR folks saying, hey, I want that program for my 3,000 employees, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That's the scale. That's the scale. Because up to this point, Win the Room has been trainer led.
Okay.
Either in person or virtual, but it's all been live. So on demand. But I will come on quarterly or once a month. And
I love that business model, Kelly, because now you're getting close to retirement, right? Now you can be like, hey, look, my course is here. It lives forever. You guys can buy that. And by the way, I'm in LA relaxing and chilling. And if you need me to come in and visit with you, I can. That's a little extra bump.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I know. That would be great. That would be great.
By the way, why are you moving to LA? What's there,
there. So I want to be near them.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were going to tell me you had a gig, like you were going to be in a movie or something.
No. I mean, who knows? Maybe, but
you never know. You never know. You're going to be back out in LA. I mean, so your daughters live there. I hear all these. I'm in Colorado. I hear all these bad, negative stories about LA. I mean, is it really bad? I don't know. How is it? Is it fine? What?
I mean, California is just, it's so beautiful. I think it's one of the most beautiful states in the country.
Yeah.
So it's a big city and it does have its issues and there's problems. I live in New York City, so it's hard to ask someone like me. I mean,
true. Yeah, that's right.
In a thriving survival urban environment. I'm a city girl.
Yeah.
But as I get older now, I am appreciating the value of having more beauty around me and having that to be more accessible. To drive along the Pacific Coast Highway.
It's great. I remember the first time I rented a convertible Mustang, and I started in San Francisco and went to San Diego. It was great. I still remember. Stopped in every beach town I could.
No, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. This is great stuff. I remember the very first time I went out there, I thought, wow, okay, now I know why everybody likes to live out here.
Yeah. So I think it will be fine. And I have a business that can go really anywhere in the country.
Yeah, no doubt, which I love, by the way. I love that. Can I ask this? And we kind of, as we get towards the back end here. And by the way, another quick call out for the group. It's wintheroom.com, and all the social media buttons and all the programs, everything is there. Is there any other websites or anything you want to call out, or should they that's the main one?
Win the Room, right? That's really the heart of whatever. And LinkedIn, if they want connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm Kelly Hadous. But yeah, those are really the two main sources.
Okay. And should they also follow In the Room, the company page on LinkedIn? Probably, if they want to.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay.
We post there. So yeah.
By the way, for the listeners, that's how I found Kelly. I tracked her down on LinkedIn. I think I had to ping her 8 or 10 times, but she did not. I'm just playing. I don't remember. What was I? Oh, I was going to ask you something else on communication, big picture a little bit. I want to get your thoughts on this.
Sure.
With the advancement of AI and tech and what we're seeing now with Chat GPT and this other stuff that's moving at light speed, what do you, when you see it and now, because what do you think? Do you think, okay, what's going on? Are we gonna just stop communicating? Your robot's gonna talk to my robot, or where are we headed, Kelly? What do you think?
I don't know where we're headed, right? I can't tell you that. But I've thought a lot about it. And I do think that we're living in the age of authenticity, right?
Mhm.
We're in the information age.
Mhm.
Anyone can get information,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So for a salesperson, for example, they shouldn't be pitching someone with just information like, hi, my name is Rob. I work for so-and-so. This is what we can do, and this is how we can help you. I can find that information that Rob has just pitched to me on.
Mm.
What I need Rob to do is to connect with me.
Mm.
So I think where humans will, rise above the machines, if you will, is really to understand the power of connection, the power of being authentic. And we're going now to the it factor. What is that? That's about charisma. What is charisma? Charisma is about making someone feel good. It's about warmth. It's about compassion. It's about empathy. Right. And I think now more than ever, we are at a crucial stage where relationship building is so important, because you're right. There's AI that's writing newsletters. There's AI that's responding, to questions that someone might have,
Yep.
If they ask it on a website. But it's still a robot, and you're not going to have those nuances of that human interaction.
Yes. How many robot LinkedIn messages do you get a day? I no telling. You probably have somebody checking those for you, but I must get, I don't know, 20 or 30 of those bullshit Autobot. I mean,
yeah. And it's fine, but use it as a structure, right? Use AI to support you, but don't take an AI message and copy and paste it.
Yeah.
Like the wrong thing to do, because you'll see it, and so will the algorithms. And the algorithms will hurt you on that.
That's a great point. Great advice.
I mean, eventually LinkedIn will say, okay, you're spam. And so we're going to, limit your use, because you're just using a bot to connect with people. And that's what we're not about that.
Yeah. Great point. So how booked out are you? Can we, can companies, are you months, or where are you at? If they log on?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, availability is there. We book out for sure. And we're a business, so we want to keep it rolling, right? But yeah, we definitely we book out, like, we'll have clients that say, okay, we'll start, mid 2024. We have clients that say, we need you now. We need you like next week.
My now price is different than my book out price, just so you know.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet. I just try to accommodate as much as I can. If I can move something around, I will.
Yeah.
Again, for me, it's not one-offs, it's not transactional what I do. I think in the beginning I was more transactional, but as a small business owner, I've realized the value of being transformational. And so that's been important for me to build those relationships. So I can tell you just from a coaching standpoint, and I've been very, very fortunate like this, is that people will stay with me for years.
That's great. That's fantastic. Return customers, referral customers. Boy, yes.
I know that's
Yes.
so I try to accommodate as much as I can. And if I can't, I can't.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Referral business is my favorite. And repeat business, my favorite. Well, Kelly, congratulations. I mean, just a really not just a great career, but a great story, like a great story. I love that whole story.
Oh,
High school, Wall Street, got married, didn't go to college first, got married. Somehow you got drugged down to Texas. I don't know if that's the right drug down, and started having kids and going back to school and figuring that out. And then now look at you. Now you're this huge speaker that's pretty well known, living in New York, getting ready to go to LA, and you got this business that you built from scratch. Congratulations. Really cool.
Thank you. That's so kind of you to say. Thank you.
Cool. Appreciate you being on the show, Kelly, and sharing your story with the listeners.
Yeah, and I've enjoyed speaking with you. Thank you for being such an amazing host.